All right, we'll get started here. I just want to thank everybody for coming. I think everybody knows who I am. Lucas Braccia, I chair the Democratic Party down here. I'm here to welcome Scott DeAnda into Escanaba. A little bit of bio on Scott. He's a state rep from the 110 up in the Copper Country. He's coming into his third and last term. Calumet City manager before that, president, a business owner from the Copper Country, and he was also the union president for the statewide local for the UAW before he was an elected officer. I'm excited about the candidacy because we kind of share a similar background. We're both union bridgemen. That's where I came from. I came out of the building trades, and we are both bridge builders. He knows what a hard day's work is, a lot like a lot of people around the UP, and a working class background. He knows the importance of a respectful, safe workplace, fair day's wage. We can sit here and make 100 hypotheticals about being a bridge builder, but in Michigan, being a bridge builder is actually important because we need to rebuild the bridges in the country, right? So I can't think of anybody better than Scott DeAnda to be down there talking about the importance of infrastructure and spending and how important it is to the families in Delta County and the 38. Not only was he a union man fighting for the workers' of the rights, he's also a small business owner. So he knows from both sides of the table, what it's like to be a worker, and then what it's like to see a struggling small business when you have Uncle Sam coming in and taking money out of your pocket and giving corporate tax breaks over and over again, and watching the mom and pops become more and more uncompetitive in the market. Most importantly, in the UP, we have Democrats, we have Republicans, but there's a line in the middle of Upocrats, right? That it's not always how the caucus wants you to vote. It's not always how special interests want you to vote. It's about what's best for the people in the Upper Peninsula, and I think Scott is a shining example of that, and voting his conscience, doing what's best for the constituency, and it's my honor to introduce him. Scott DeAnda.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you all for being here today. Very glad to be down here in Delta. This is wonderful that people came out on this beautiful spring day we have in the UP. I'm Scott DeAnda. I am the representative for the 110th district, and I am running for the 38th Senate district. I am a lifelong resident of the UP, and I started my career off very young when I purchased a business up in Calumet, and I was on the village council. As president, I was also a trustee, and I know what it takes to run a local business, and I know what it takes to have people that are in our local governments how to survive. They got to be funded. I also have been involved with something that's been very dear to my heart, president of Michigan State Employees Association. I know the value of what it takes for labor, and I understand what it takes to work. That was probably something that a lot of people don't really understand anymore. It's just the fact that we've got a lot of great working people out there, and conditions have not been the best. And other than this last couple of 4 years in Lansing, we see the attack on working people, and it has to end. We got to put people first before corporations. We're looking at the state of giving away $1.5 billion worth of our tax money, and it's going to corporations that sometimes they don't provide anything back to us as taxpayers. They promise that they're going to put people to work, and sometimes that just happens, and most of the times it does not happen. The money has to go back to the people. We got to start figuring out about what we're going to do. And I tell you what I know what we're going to do. We're going to work on the kitchen table issues. We're going to get people back to work with new industries that we have coming, with high-tech positions, and moving on to the broadband. But we're going to look at the stuff that built the UP. The mining is number one. Agriculture. We also have the timber production that's across this land. We've been blessed to be in Michigan and Upper Michigan, to be here to have those resources. We've got to use them like our forefathers did in putting people back to work. We are working with a lot of partners across the state. The Michigan Tech Smart Zone also have a lot of folks that want to stay here. They want to develop these businesses and have these patents. Those are the things that are going to put people back to work. The future is, with a lot of our forest products industries, we have medical grade packaging that's sterile, that can be made out of wood pulp instead of out of oil. Those are the things we got to look at. We got to look at the energy in Michigan, especially Upper Michigan. Everybody is hit with high power costs. Those are the things that are holding back our businesses and our community. A lot of the extra money that we have go for power costs. We have to find a better solution to it. We got to look at solar production. We got to look at those things that are going to put people to work, and it's in a new industry that's going to come to Michigan. And right now we got some of the highest power costs in the 50 states. Those are the things we got to look at that are going to put people back to work. The one thing that we have to change is to come up with a better solution that we have now with the House of Representatives, the Senate, and the Executive Office. 3 branches of government controlled right now, and what has happened with that control? We have had the taxes have been increasing on our pensions. That's one of the things. That's one of the things that have hurt Michigan the most. We got retirees that worked their whole life, the game got changed, and they started taxing their pensions. It hurts the small businesses. It hurts a lot of our investment in the community. The other thing that we have to look at if we're going to make a better state and a better UP is to be able to fund the local schools. K through 12 has to be fully funded. We've got to support the skilled trades. We have to make sure that those businesses that want to stay here and grow and come to the UP are going to have the workforce that they need. And we need to look at all of the investment in our community. When we look at all the counties and we see the budgets, one of the things that have hurt us the most in the last years has been since 1988 we have lost $5.5 billion in revenue sharing. That affects every one of our communities, every one of our counties, every one of our cities. You know, the money has to come back to the local government. And I've been down there the last 4 years, and the budget has increased from $44 billion to $57.5 billion this year. In a couple of weeks, we're going to take a vote on that budget. The money has to come back to the communities. Lansing has grown a lot of different programs, and the money doesn't come back here to the locals. And then we wonder why we can't fix the infrastructure. And we wonder why our roads are not well, our sidewalks are falling apart, why we're worried about these water systems. It's just not down in Flint, Michigan that I'm worried about water systems. I'm worried about water systems in the UP because a lot of our structures are the same. It's the same vintage. And why I'm running is because we want to have a new direction and a focus on quality of life for the people and the residents of the UP. We've got to get back to people first. That's why I'm running. That's why I've ran for the last 3 cycles in the 110th district. When I go around and I talk to all of our residences, I hear the same thing. It's jobs, it's they're worried about their future, it's the kitchen table issues when it comes down to the utility costs and what is going to happen to the UP. We want to be a part of the solution. We want to make sure that we come down to these communities and they're strong and they're vibrant and we're looking at new people moving in. Because we have to grow Michigan's population. It's 9.5 million people. It's been that way for the last 30 years. When I come down in the Delta, down in this county, and I'm in Escanaba, when I look over at our waterfront, we see that there's a port sitting here. If it was anywhere else in the country, it would be active. These are the things that have to be done. We've got to create the business. We got the natural resources here to do it. We got people that are unemployed. We got to get people working. Everything else changes when people have a job and they're employed. And there's no reason why we're not doing this. It has to be done. We cannot continue for the future of these young people to be able not to move on it. We've got to have people that are going to stand up, work with businesses, work with these new industries, and get our people to work. We definitely can do it. It's been done in the past. We got to have good environmental controls to make sure that the water's safe and the air is good to breathe. But we've got to get people to work. No matter where I go across Michigan, that's the discussion. Everybody's worried about the future, and they're worried about the money that they have. And it's just time to start putting the money back to the people and take it away from the corporations. I just want to let you know that I come from 5 generations from up in Calumet. We're proud, a proud family. We're humble. My family started up there in the 1870s. You know, they were up there, they were in community service. My great-great-grandmother was the village clerk at one time in our small town. It was a small town now, but it wasn't back then. We had 100,000 people up in that area. And when you look at the same thing we got down here in Escanaba, we had the history showed what we can do. We got a 2-mile stretch of a downtown here. It was vibrant.